I'm 45. Got 2 kids, a decent job, a mortgage I can handle, and until about 6 months ago, I thought I had the marriage. You know the one I'm talking about. The kind your buddies half-jokingly envy when they're 3 beers in. The stable one. Predictable. Comfortable. She packed my lunch. We split chores. We had a shared calendar. Sex wasn't wild, but it was regular enough not to question. She laughed at my dumb jokes. We held hands at the grocery store. I'd walk in the door after work and she'd already have dinner halfway done. Not because I asked, but because that's just how we did things. Teamwork. I thought I'd won. I really did. You get to a certain age and you stop looking for fireworks. You just want peace. Familiarity. A little warmth at night. Someone to share coffee with in the morning and complain about back pain with by evening. I thought that's what we had. God, I was proud of it. I was proud of her. I'd brag about her to my buddies. Yeah, she's still got it. And she's smarter than me. Man, way smarter. We had jokes only we understood, memories only we carried. I didn't question her. Ever. I never checked her phone, never wondered where she really was, never listened for half-truths in her voice. And maybe that was my first mistake. I trusted her blindly. It felt good to believe I was the guy who made it. The one who found a real partner and held on to her. I thought we'd ride this life out side by side, retire somewhere warm, maybe argue over what to watch on Netflix until we died. That was the plan, until the cracks started showing. But I'll get to that. For now, all I can tell you is this. If you're sitting there thinking, my wife would never, I used to be you. I wore that blindfold like a crown. And then it slipped. Just enough to see the truth underneath. And nothing's been the same since. It started small. Always does, right? I remember the first time I felt off. We were watching TV, one of those crime dramas she always picked, and her phone lit up on the coffee table. She didn't even flinch. Just kept her eyes on the screen and casually reached over, flipped the phone face down, and went right back to pretending to be interested in whatever murder was happening on screen. I caught it. That click sound of the phone hitting the table face first. And it wasn't the act itself. People do that. But she'd never done it before. In 13 years of marriage, her phone was just a phone. Now it was a damn briefcase with a lock. Then there were the clothes. She started dressing sharper, even for random errands. Not just, I want to look good, but the kind of look that screams intent. Tight jeans, makeup on a Tuesday, perfume for a quick run to Target. And if I asked where she was going, she had answers ready. Too ready. Like she'd rehearsed. Just meeting Julie for coffee. Gotta pick something up from work real quick. Spin class ran late. Julie's number was still in my phone from years ago. I could have called her, but I didn't. I told myself, don't be that guy. The suspicious, controlling husband. She's allowed to have a life. So I buried the feeling, pushed it down, and smothered it with logic. But the absences started stacking. Gaps in her day that didn't make sense. Times I'd call and she wouldn't answer. Not once, but never. Always a reason. Left her phone in the car, didn't hear it, dead battery. I wanted to believe her. Hell, I did believe her. Because believing her meant keeping my world intact. Still, that knot in my gut never left. Just sat there, coiled like a snake, waiting. She also got short with me. Like, weirdly sarcastic. If I asked a simple question, hey, what did you do today? She'd give me that tight little smile and say something like, what is this, an interrogation? It used to be, let me tell you everything. Now it was, why do you care? One time I said, jokingly, you look good. Got a hot date? She didn't laugh. She just looked me in the eye, smirked, and said, wouldn't you like to know? I laughed it off. What else could I do? Call her bluff? Start a fight over a joke? I didn't want to be the guy whose marriage was crumbling. I wanted to be the guy who understood his wife was just evolving, just finding herself, just. Whatever women in their 40s say when they suddenly need space. But deep down I knew. I knew the foundation was starting to shift under me, and I was too afraid to see what it was revealing. You ever try to gaslight yourself? I mean, really sit there, look yourself in the mirror, and say, asterisk, you're overreacting. You're tired. You're stressed. It's just midlife stuff. She's fine. You're fine. Asterisk. I did that. Every damn day. I'd go through these mental gymnastics, trying to explain away the unease. I'd tell myself she was just burned out, that the coldness in her voice was because of work stress. That the phone thing? Coincidence. Her new wardrobe? Confidence. The perfume? Just a phase. Hell, I even convinced myself I was the problem. She's pulling away because you've let yourself go. You've been boring. Predictable. You've become background noise. And part of me believed it. I started working out again, buying new shirts, reading articles about keeping the spark alive. I took her on a weekend trip to the lake, just the two of us. Thought maybe all she needed was to feel like we still had it. She smiled, took the photos, held my hand on the dock like we were 20 again. But there was this emptiness behind her eyes, a flicker of something else. She wasn't with me. She was going through the motions. And then there were the phone calls she took in the other room. The quick text replies with her back turned. The late night, just 5 more minutes, on the couch after I went to bed. I remember one night. I got up to pee around 1 a.m. Walked into the dark kitchen and caught a glow from the hallway. She was standing there, barefoot, wearing her robe, whispering into her phone with her back against the wall, like a teenager sneaking a call past curfew. I froze. She didn't see me, just kept talking in this low, soft tone I hadn't heard in a long time. And then, she laughed. This soft, flirty little giggle. The kind she used to make with me when we were still young and everything was new. I backed away before she saw me. Didn't confront her. Didn't ask. Just crawled back into bed and stared at the ceiling, heart pounding, palms sweating like a damn teenager myself. Next morning, she kissed me on the cheek like nothing had happened. Asked if I wanted eggs or oatmeal. I chose oatmeal because I couldn't trust myself to look her in the eye if I saw her crack an egg. You tell yourself you're imagining things because asterisk, what's the alternative? Asterisk. That your wife, the woman you've built your life around, is lying to your face? That everything you believed in was just set dressing for her double life? No, man. You don't let yourself go there. At least, not yet. So I kept quiet. Played the good husband. Picked up the groceries. Took the kids to school. Smiled at her family during Sunday dinner. But inside, I was starting to rot. And the worst part? I still wanted to be wrong. It was a Wednesday, middle of the week. Nothing special. I'd come home early from work. Client canceled last minute. And figured I'd surprise her. Maybe grab coffee together, something simple. I pulled into the driveway and noticed her car wasn't there. That wasn't weird in itself. She had a flexible schedule and sometimes ran errands or met friends. But something told me to check. So I stepped inside, tossed my keys in the bowl by the door, and for reasons I still can't explain, I went to the bedroom first. Her iPad was on the nightstand. She almost never used it anymore. It was practically collecting dust. But I noticed the screen had that soft, low glow like it had just gone to sleep. Like it had been used recently. I don't know what made me do it. I swear I wasn't the kind of guy who snooped. But I tapped it open. No passcode. Maybe she figured no one ever used it. I didn't, until then. The Messages app was open. And there it was. A thread labeled M. No emoji. No full name. Just the initial. And the last message, clear as day. Last night was amazing. I can still smell you on my skin. I can't even explain what that did to me. My vision narrowed. My chest felt like it was closing in. My hands were sweating but freezing cold at the same time. I just stood there, reading that one sentence over and over again, like my brain refused to accept it. There were more messages. Flirty, intimate, detailed. Some of them dated weeks back. Some even while I'd been in the house. Photos too. Nothing pornographic, but enough to feel like someone punched me in the ribs. Her face. Her smile. That stupid robe I bought her last Christmas. I wanted to scream. Throw the iPad across the room. Punch a hole in the drywall just to feel something other than the tidal wave of disbelief crashing through me. But I didn't. I sat on the edge of the bed, holding that iPad like it was evidence at a murder trial. And in a way it was. Because in that moment, the marriage I thought I had, the life I thought I built, died. Not with a bang. Not with a fight. But with a line of text. A scent on skin that wasn't mine. She came home maybe 30 minutes later. Grocery bags in hand. Humming some song like the world was fine. I heard the keys in the door, the rustle of plastic bags, her heels clicking against the tile. Normal sounds. Everyday life. But for me, everything was different now. I was still sitting on the edge of the bed. iPad in my lap, screen still glowing. I hadn't moved. She walked into the bedroom like nothing was wrong, and then froze. Just a flicker in her eyes when she saw the iPad. Her face didn't drop, didn't panic. Just paused, like a chess player calculating the next move. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. She looked at me, then the iPad, then me again. And then, she smiled. This smug, practiced little smirk that made my stomach turn. Oh, she said, dropping the bags by the dresser. So you've been snooping now? That's what she led with. Snooping. Not denial. Not fear. Not even fake outrage. Accusation. I remember my voice cracking when I asked, "Who the hell is M?" She rolled her eyes. Rolled her eyes. Like I was a child catching his mom sneaking candy after dinner. Someone who listens, she said. Cold. Flat. Like she was bored already. Someone who doesn't treat me like furniture. I just stared at her. My hands were trembling. You're cheating on me? I asked, like I still needed her to confirm what I'd already seen with my own eyes. Like part of me was hoping she'd say it was a joke, a misunderstanding, a stupid game. But she didn't. She scoffed. Oh, don't be dramatic. We haven't been happy in years. You just didn't notice. And then the floodgates opened. She started listing off every tiny grievance from the last decade. Every missed compliment. Every chore I didn't do perfectly. Every argument I thought we'd moved past. You stopped seeing me, she said, crossing her arms like a queen addressing a servant. I just beat you to the finish line. I was numb, floating. So instead of talking to me, you went and slept with someone else? I said, and she laughed. Laughed. Don't act like some victim, she sneered. You clocked out of this marriage a long time ago. I just decided not to go down with a sinking ship. That's when I snapped. Not physically. I never laid a hand on her. But my voice came out sharp. So instead of fixing the ship, you lit a match. She didn't answer. Just looked at me, jaw tight, eyes cold. Like I was wasting her time. Cornered, she shifted tactics. Fine. Yes. I've been seeing someone. You happy now? No. I wasn't happy. I was broken. But I said nothing. Because what the hell do you say when the person you love looks you in the face and tells you your whole life was a lie? She left the room. No apology. No breakdown. No regret. Just walked out and started unpacking groceries like she didn't just shatter the man who'd built a life around her. And I just sat there, alone, holding that goddamn iPad like it was a gravestone. You always think the worst part will be the explosion, the yelling, the accusations, the dramatic scene you see in movies. But it's not. Not even close. It's the silence afterward. It's standing in the kitchen doorway, watching her put away milk and eggs like she didn't just pull the floor out from under your entire life. It's hearing the clink of dishes in the sink when you're still trying to remember how to breathe. She didn't cry, didn't beg, didn't even look at me again that night. And me? I couldn't move. I sat on the couch in that same shirt I'd worn to work, the one she once said brought out my eyes. Now it just felt heavy, like armor that failed. The kids came home from practice, loud, hungry, oblivious, and I smiled like everything was fine. That fake, robotic smile dads were when the ship's going down, but the passengers are still laughing. Dinner happened. We sat at the same table, passed plates, made small talk. She acted like it was any other night. Even laughed at something our son said about a video game. And I sat there nodding, chewing, bleeding from the inside out. It was like watching a movie of my own life with a stranger cast in her role. Her body was there, her voice, but the soul? Gone. Replaced by something colder. Calculated. She looked through me, not at me. I didn't sleep that night. Just lay on my side of the bed, not touching her, not speaking, staring at the shadows on the ceiling while her breathing stayed calm and steady, like she hadn't just set fire to everything we built. The next morning, she made coffee. Made coffee. Like nothing happened. And I realized, this wasn't shame for her. This wasn't even new. This had been going on for months, maybe longer. And she'd made peace with it. Lived with it. Worn it like a second skin while I stumbled through each day thinking we were fine. And now that it was out in the open, she didn't fall apart. I did. I took a shower that morning and caught myself sobbing under the water. The kind of ugly, shaking cry that makes your ribs hurt. No sound. Just water and fists clenched against tile. A grown man, 45 years old, crying like a boy who just lost his home. Because in a way, I did. And the worst part? She still hadn't said sorry. Not once. After the silence, comes the replay. It's like your brain turns into a crime scene investigator, obsessively rewinding tape, scanning every memory for missed signs, overlooked details, and glaring red flags you somehow brushed off at the time. I started remembering things that used to mean nothing. That work trip she took last spring. The one where she came back strangely distant for a week, barely touched me, slept in until noon, said she was just exhausted. I bought her flowers to cheer her up. She said thank you, but didn't even sniff them. Or the time I picked up her phone by accident when mine was dead. She snatched it out of my hand so fast it was like I'd pulled a gun. Said something about private work stuff. I nodded. Trusted her. Like an idiot. That dinner with her coworker, Mark, a few years ago. I shook his hand. He had that smirk. That too long eye contact with her. And she laughed at his jokes a little too hard, a little too long. I asked her about it in the car. She got defensive. Told me I was insecure. Told me to grow up. I apologized. I freaking apologized for feeling something in my gut that turned out to be dead on. Every flashback was like a cut reopening. Every memory twisted into something grotesque under the light of the truth. Even the good ones. The Christmas where we slow danced in the living room after the kids went to bed. I remember thinking I was the luckiest man alive. But now I wonder if she was already texting him then. Maybe even kissed me with his mouth still on her mind. Or that night we stayed up watching old home movies of the kids, drinking wine. She leaned her head on my shoulder. I thought it was love. Now I wonder if it was guilt. Or just good acting. There was this one moment, 2 years back. We were at a barbecue. Friends, beers, kids running around in the yard. She went inside to get more ice. I followed her a few minutes later and saw her on her phone, smiling. Not at a joke, not at a meme, but that smile you save for someone who gets you. I asked who she was texting. She said, just Lisa. I didn't question it. Now I know Lisa never texted her that much. The hardest part about betrayal isn't just the betrayal itself. It's realizing how long you were played. How much of your life was a lie in disguise. And worst of all, how easy you made it for them. There's no manual for this. No guidebook titled, so your wife's been screwing someone behind your back for months, and you just found out at the bookstore. Just silence, rage, confusion, and a hell of a lot of shame. I didn't tell anyone. Not at first. Because what do you say? Hey man, remember how I always said we had the perfect marriage? Yeah, turns out she had a side gig. In someone else's bed. I couldn't say the words out loud without choking on them. And inside, something in me started to crack. Not explode. Just unravel. It wasn't just about her. It was about me. What this did to me, as a man, as a husband, as a father, as someone who thought he was doing everything right. You spend years building a life, showing up, being steady, keeping your vows, suppressing temptations, working late to make sure the mortgage is paid, carrying the weight without complaint. And then you find out none of it mattered. That while you were fighting to keep the house from falling, she was sneaking out the back door. It makes you question everything. Was I boring? Not enough? Did I miss something? Did I stop being a man somewhere along the way? You know what really stung? She used to make fun of men who cheated. Only cowards sneak around, she'd say. If you're unhappy, leave. But when it was her turn, she didn't leave. She just multiplied her life. Lived 2 versions. Smiled at me while lying to my face. Hugged our children and then snuck out to meet someone else's husband. Or boyfriend. Or whoever he is. I started second-guessing every part of myself. How I looked. How I talked. Even how I walked. I caught myself in the mirror and wondered if she ever looked at me and felt disgusted. Or pity. Or nothing at all. It's emasculating. Not just being cheated on, but being fooled. Being the last one to know. Being the guy who gave his all while she was giving pieces of herself to someone else. You start to question whether you're a man at all, or just some placeholder. Some fool who thought love and loyalty meant something in a world where people swap partners like phone upgrades. I didn't cry that week. Not out loud, anyway. But something in me, something old, quiet, proud, curled up and died. And all that was left was the question, who the hell am I now? I didn't want to know. I told myself that over and over again. Don't go digging. Don't give him a face. Just let it die. But you can't let it die. Not really. Because there's this primal part of you, deep, raw, and furious, that needs to know who he is. What he has that you don't. What the hell she saw in him that made her throw away a decade of marriage, 2 kids, and a man who'd have taken a bullet for her. I thought maybe it was some random guy. A fling. A mistake. Something meaningless. Then one night, while she was out with the girls, again, I did what I said I wouldn't do. I opened her laptop. She never logged out of her Gmail. Rookie move. I found him. His name? Matt. And my blood went cold. Because I knew Matt. He wasn't a stranger. He wasn't some anonymous coworker I'd never met. He was my friend. Well, I thought he was. We coached Little League together. We barbecued in my backyard last summer. He helped me install a new garage door opener. Our kids had sleepovers. I even gave the bastard a bottle of whiskey for his birthday. Good stuff, too. Suddenly everything made sense. The way he and my wife laughed too hard at each other's jokes. The way she touched his arm when she talked. The late texts she claimed were about parent volunteer stuff. How she always insisted I didn't need to come to the PDA meetings. It's boring, babe. I'll fill you in. Yeah, she was filling all right. I sat there, staring at the screen, fists clenched so tight my knuckles went white. There were emails. So many of them. Long threads. Secret plans. Photos. Inside jokes. One even had my name in it. She was mocking something I said about her cooking. And he replied with a laughing emoji. That stung more than I care to admit. It was worse than I imagined. Not just physical. This was emotional. Deep. Strategic. Cruel. He knew me. Knew our marriage. Knew our kids. And he did it anyway. They both did. Like I was some harmless idiot sitting at the dinner table while they played footsie under it. And for a moment, I swear to God, I wanted to destroy everything. Punch holes in walls. Go to his house. Drag him into the street. Make him feel half of what I felt. But I didn't. Instead, I closed the laptop. And I sat there in the dark. Burning. Seething. And wondering if either of them felt even a shred of the agony they'd handed me. I won't lie. There were nights I fantasized about it. Revenge. Raw. Ugly. Loud. I imagined showing up at Matt's house, catching him in his smug little robe, maybe sipping the bourbon I gave him, and slamming my fist so deep into his jaw that he'd choke on his teeth. I imagined dragging his secrets into the open, telling his wife, showing the emails, posting screenshots on every neighborhood group chat. Let the whole damn cul-de-sac know who he really was. I even thought about her stuff. Burning it. Shredding the framed photos of our wedding. Taking her favorite perfume bottle, the one she probably wore for him, and smashing it into the tile until the scent made me sick. I pictured myself packing my bag and just vanishing. No note. No warning. Let her come home to silence and an empty closet. Hell, there was a night, one bad night, where I sat in the car outside his office. Engine running. Just sitting there. 10 minutes, maybe more. Thinking he's inside. He's in there, breathing like nothing's wrong. But I didn't go in. I didn't knock on his door. I didn't tell his wife. I didn't even raise my voice. Because somewhere deep down, beneath the fire and the hatred and the pain, I knew something. They weren't worth it. They wanted chaos. Wanted me to explode, to spiral, to act like the broken man they'd made me into. But I wasn't going to give them the satisfaction. See, revenge might feel good for a minute. But then what? You're still alone. Still betrayed. Still haunted by memories that don't mean what they used to. So I sat with it. I let it boil. I let the rage whisper things I didn't act on. And instead of revenge, I chose something worse. I chose silence. Let them wonder what I'd do. Let them wait. Let the weight of their own guilt, or lack of it, eat at them. And me? I started planning my exit. Quiet. Cold. Calculated. Just like them. It hit me on a random Tuesday. Not during the confrontation. Not while reading those messages. Not even when I found out it was Matt. No, it happened while I was sitting in my car outside the grocery store, gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing holding me together. I just finished shopping. Milk, cereal, frozen pizza. Normal dad stuff. The cashier asked if I wanted paper or plastic, and I just nodded like a zombie. I loaded the bags into the back, slid into the driver's seat, and closed the door. And then I just sat there. Keys in my hand. Breath stuck in my throat. And the tears came. Not the cinematic kind. No silent single tear rolling down my cheek. No, this was ugly. Chest heaving, teeth gritting, face in hands kind of sobbing. The kind you pray no one sees. The kind that takes years to build. It hit me all at once. The lies, the humiliation, the loss, the loneliness. Not just losing her, but losing the version of myself I was when I believed in her. That guy? He was gone. And nobody knew. To the world, I was just a guy in a blue Toyota. Middle-aged. Married. Probably wondering what to cook for dinner. No one saw the man inside breaking apart like glass under pressure. I punched the steering wheel. Screamed into the empty car. Said things I'd never say out loud anywhere else. Why? Why wasn't I enough? And then silence. Not peaceful silence. Hollow silence. I stayed there for almost an hour. Just sitting. Watching people go about their day while my life was in ruins. I think that's when I knew I couldn't keep pretending. Couldn't keep swallowing it down. Couldn't keep nodding and smiling and playing the good husband in front of the kids while I bled behind my eyes. That breakdown, that stupid moment in a parking lot, it was the first real moment of honesty I'd had in months. I was broken, and I needed help. People always say, stay strong for the kids. But they never tell you how. They don't tell you how to look your daughter in the eye when she asks, why are you and mommy not eating dinner together anymore? Or how to answer your son when he hears raised voices and quietly knocks on your door to ask if everything's okay. You lie. You fake a smile. You pull them into a hug. You say, just adult stuff, buddy. Because the truth, the real truth, that their mother ripped their father in half and doesn't even seem to care, they're not ready for that. And neither are you. I started splitting time with the kids, unofficially at first. She suggested space would be good for everyone, like we were negotiating a furniture rearrangement, not a fractured family. I moved into the guest room. The kids noticed, of course, but they didn't push. God bless them. They felt the shift, even if they couldn't name it. My daughter became quieter, more clingy. My son started acting up in school. Nothing major, but different. Kids always know. And here's the part that guts me. They still loved her. And why shouldn't they? She's their mother. She made them pancakes on Sundays. She tucked them in every night. She still did those things, even now. How do you sit in the same room with someone who betrayed you in the most intimate way and watch them laugh with your kids, help them with homework, braid your daughter's hair, like they didn't just nuke your soul? You compartmentalize. You swallow it. You become an actor in your own home. I started watching them more closely. Not just my kids, her. How she interacted with them. How good she was at flipping the switch. She was still motherly. Warm. Soft-voiced. But it felt performed. Like she knew what to do. How to appear. I don't think the kids saw it. Not yet. But I did. And I couldn't decide which was worse. That she could still wear the mask so well. Or that I used to think it was her real face. There wasn't some dramatic last straw. No screaming match. No suitcase thrown down the stairs. No storming out into the night. It came quietly. I was sitting at the kitchen table. Kids asleep. House silent. She was in the living room, scrolling her phone, laughing softly at something. Probably his message. And I realized. I felt nothing. No more rage. No more bargaining. No more pathetic hope that maybe she'd wake up one day and say, I made a mistake. I want us back. I didn't want her back. I didn't want her lies. Her silence. Her little smiles when she thought I wasn't watching. I didn't want to sleep next to someone who could fake so well, so effortlessly, for so long. I wanted out. I stood up, walked into the living room, and said, we're done. For real. She looked up slowly, blinked. No surprise. No tears. Just that same measured voice she always used when she wanted to sound reasonable. Are you sure? Don't you think we should talk this through with a counselor or something first? Why? I asked. So you can lie more professionally? She didn't like that. Her mouth tightened. But again, no apology. No pleading. Just self-preservation dressed up as maturity. Let's not make this messy, she said. I laughed. I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was insane. Like I was the one at risk of making this messy. She was the arsonist, and now she wanted help putting the fire out without anyone noticing the smoke. I didn't yell, didn't slam doors. I just walked back to the kitchen, grabbed a notepad, and started writing down a plan. Custody, assets, the house, her car, my car, mediation options, lawyer referrals. I didn't even look at her while I did it. Because it was done. Something inside me had finally died. The part that still held on to the version of her that once loved me. That guy? He deserved better. And I was finally ready to become him again. The first thing I did was shave my beard. It sounds stupid, I know. But I looked in the mirror one morning and realized I didn't recognize the man staring back. The tired eyes, the worn skin, the weight of betrayal hanging off every inch of him. So I grabbed the clippers, cleaned it all off. It was symbolic, sure, but also necessary. I needed to start peeling away the layers of who I became while trying to survive her. Next was the closet. I boxed up every shirt she ever bought me, every sweater she liked, tossed them in a donation bin like dead skin. Then I booked a solo weekend away. Just 2 nights at a quiet cabin by a lake a few hours out. I sat on the deck with a drink and silence. No phones. No noise. Just me, the water, and the things I hadn't allowed myself to feel until then. Grief. Not just for the marriage, but for myself. For the man who gave and gave. For the father who had to smile through tears. For the husband who stayed loyal in a world that doesn't reward it. I started talking to someone, a therapist. First time in my life. Thought it'd be awkward. It wasn't. It was necessary. I also reached out to one of my oldest friends, the kind I'd grown distant from over the years. Told him everything. He didn't judge. Just listened. Said, "You're not alone, man." And that sentence hit harder than I expected. Because I wasn't. There are so many of us out here. Good men. Broken by women who smiled to our faces while sleeping in someone else's arms. And we carry the shame like it's ours. But it's not. Bit by bit, I reclaimed things. My music. My routines. My peace. I started jogging again. Not to punish myself, but to feel again. To breathe hard. To sweat it out. To get out of the house, filled with echoes of her. I still see the kids. We've been figuring out a rhythm. They don't know all the details, just that dad lives in a different place now and still loves them like crazy. Because that never changed. And never will. The funny part? I'm still not okay. Not fully. But I'm getting there. Not stronger. Not wiser. Just realer. And that's enough for now. People like to wrap stories up with a bow. You're better off. She did you a favor. You'll find someone new. Let me be clear. This isn't that kind of ending. This isn't some clean-cut redemption arc where I rise from the ashes, get a six-pack, date a yoga instructor, and post deep quotes about healing. What betrayal really leaves behind is a scar you don't see until you try to trust someone again. It's the flinch when someone's phone lights up face down. It's the hesitation when a new woman laughs at your jokes, because part of you wonders if she's laughing at you. It's the pause before you speak, wondering if your truth will be used against you someday. I'm not some hero for surviving it. I'm just a man who got gutted and somehow kept breathing. And here's the thing they don't tell you, the really hard part. It wasn't just her I had to let go of. It was the version of me who thought love meant safety, who believed loyalty was bulletproof. That guy is gone. In his place, someone quieter, someone slower to speak, someone who watches more than he talks, someone who will never again hand over his heart without asking where the other person's been keeping theirs. But you know what? I'm still here. Not whole, not healed, but awake. And maybe that's enough for now. If you're reading this, and you've been there, or you think you're there, trust that voice in your gut. Not the one she manipulates. Not the one your friends brush off. The real voice. The one that whispers in quiet moments, something's not right. You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're just a man who loved hard and got blindsided. But you're still standing. And that's something. That's everything.